Hello, my pretties. It's the Lion Queen here, and this is episode 201 of Shadows and Pretties. So today, I know I haven't talked about this topic of a certain video game series in a while. I kind of wanted it to reach out to other topics before I go to this one. And this one today we're going to be talking about is Halo 4. Now, Halo 4 is a game that came out in 2012, so like a couple years ago. I'm really surprised that it came out around that time. So, anyways, with that being the case, that being said, I'm gonna sit here and say right now that I'll be spoiling pretty much everything about the game. So, if you guys do not want me to spoil it or anything, just let me know in the comments, and not let me know in the comments. I don't know what's going on with me. I just kind of I'm just cleaning my glasses so then that way I can read them or something. So, yeah, anyways, I guess we should get started with this. So, this game, Halo 4, came out in 2012 and it was developed by Bungie, aka Free Industries, after they took over. So, this one came out in 2012. And yeah, this is a sequel to Halo 3. Like, I think the last time I talked about Halo 3 was last year, and I haven't touched this topic of Halo in a while. But, anyways, I think we should begin with this. So, yeah. Of course, Halo 4 is a shooter game, which the player predominantly experiences the first person's perspective and all that. However, though, we do have like a good plot of the game. So, I mean, I'm not going to go too much into detail of this, but Halo 4 story campaign could be played, in co-op, which is two players, or it can be played alone. So, however, though instead of different character like in Halo 3, in Halo 4, all the players assume the role of Master Chief, which is the main character of this game. So basically, Halo takes place futuristically science fiction setting in the year 2557, 4 years after the events of Halo 3. The backstory details that hundreds of thousands of years before the modern era, humans were one of the several interstellar civilizations. Following the war with the parasitic flood, which unfortunately for the flood, they ended up dying because, Chief won. If you remember me reviewing the third one called Halo 3 in Shadows and Pretties, then you'll probably know. So, anyways, with that being the case, all the humans come into conflict with the Forerunners, which is a powerful race that upheld a policy of benevolent shepherding of a race as known as the mandatory responsibility. So after centuries of war with Forerunners defeated the humans and stripped them of their technology and empire. So the Forerunners soon fought the Flood themselves after exhausting every strategic opinion available to them. So the Forerunners activate weapons as their mass destruction known as the Halo Array, and the array's firing killed significant life in the galaxy, deprived the Flood of their food. Of the life of the Forerunners, that catalog was when it was indeed throughout the galaxy. However, in the 26th century, humanity came under attack by the Covenant, an alien collective species that worshipped the Forerunners as gods. So the human super soldiers, Master Chief Petty Officer John 117, his artificial intelligence companion Cortana, were instrumental in stopping the halos from being activated, sterilizing the flood outbreak before they commenced the galaxy once again. So defeating the Covenant that resulted at the end of the war, at the end of Halo 3, Cortana and Chief were left stranded in unknown space aboard the remains of vessel forward and onto Dawn. So, yeah, that's basically, kind of, a little backstory about it for those who want to know. So, however, though, Master Chief and Cortana wake up from a cryogenic sleep shortly after the Force's newly formed Covenant splinters fraction aboard the vessel. So the remains of Forward Onto Dawn it was caught in the Requiem's gravity well and passed through an opening and crash land on its interior. So as Chief and Cortana explore the Requiem, yeah, I can't pronounce certain words. I do apologize. Fighting hostile forces as the new Covenant faction, mechanical warriors called the Promethean Knights. Cortana malfunctions, but she then later reveals herself as experiencing rampancy, a declined mental state faced by the smart AIs past their usual 7-year lifespan. So when Chief promises to get Cortana to Earth, believing that Cortana's creator, Dr. Catherine Hazley, can fix Cortana's condition, Chief and Cortana pick up the garbled transmitter from the human ship UNSC Infinity, who have picked up the Dawn's distress call. Cortana then attempts to warn Infinity away from the Requiem's gravity, as well as directs the Chief to deactivate what she believes to be communication jammers. Instead, Chief unwillingly releases the Didact. Yes, and the Didact is the, main antagonist of the game for those who haven't played it. An ancient Forerunner warrior who, from imprisonment, the Didact seems to be a man of unworthy mantle of responsibility, takes the Feminons and the Covenant faction, and then attacks Infinity after it's dragged into Requiem. Chief makes contact with Infinity and helps repel the Didact's attacks, and Chief and Cortana recommend attacking the Didact when he's invulnerable, but Infinity Del Rio orders them to destroy the gravity as well as their ship so they can escape in the process. So Chief is then in contact by a Forerunner known as the Librarian, the wife of the Didact, as well as the ancient humanity protector. She explains the Forerunners were divided on how the best to combat the flood. But after failing to discover a way to humanize biological beings from the parasite, the Didact uses a device called the Composure to convert warriors under his command to the Promethean Knights immune to the infection. Requiring more soldiers, the Didact forcibly converted captured humans into Provominons before being stopped and imprisoned by the Librarian. So the Librarian, who has guided the humanity's development and accelerates the Chief's evolution to grant him the humanity to the Composure. After destroying Gravity Well, Del Rio then retreat back to Earth, doubting the Chief and Cortana's testimony. So the Master Chief disobeys the order and stands down the Ricklish, the malfunctioning Cortana, and stays back to oppose the Didact. Chief and Cortana attempt to sabotage Didact's ship before he leaves, but they're unsuccessful, so they follow the Didact to the Halo Ring, Installation 03. The Composure had been moved from the ring onto the nearby Ivanov research station, to which Cortana factions attacks. So the Chief defends Ivanov, but the Didact retrieves the Composure and uses it on the station, composing every individual save Chief. So Chief and Cortana use a fighter to follow the Didact ship to Earth, aided by Infinity, and at the home fleet, Chief aborts the Didact ship with the nuclear warhead. When Cortana exerts copies of herself to the Didact's computer systems to overwhelm the Didact shield, but it was not before the Didact directs the Composure at Earth. So with the help of Cortana, the Chief defeats Didact, who falls in the portal underneath the Composure. So when Master Chief activates the bomb, but he is saved by Cortana, who sacrifices herself. Chief is then found by a rescue team and is taken back to Infinity, where he mourns the loss of Cortana. However, in the post-credits scene you probably remember, the Didact proclaims the Forerunners' role as custodians of the galaxy, having to bear the mantle of responsibility, and humanity as the greatest threat in the galaxy. However, Master Chief removes his armor aboard Infinity, so if the player completes the game on Legendary difficulty, the Master Chief's heavily scarred face is briefly shown. But that's actually pretty much, about, the plot of the fourth game. I really do like the storyline of it. It actually flows out pretty well with the Halo series. Like, I remember I reviewed the first one on Shadows and Pretties, then I reviewed the second game and the third game. Now I'm sitting there and reviewing the fourth game. Now, I know I haven't reviewed the fourth game, but so I decided, you know what? I'll take the day to do it because I have not talked about Halo in this channel in like a long time. So, yeah. So, it's a special treat for you all. So, there is a Spartan Ops which takes place 6 months after Halo 4's campaign, but it's pretty interesting. I've never played Spartan Ops, so I can't really say much, but it takes place, a couple months after Halo 4's campaign, which is really worth it. So, in development after the release of Halo Free, Halo developer Bungie split off to a parent company, Microsoft, and they retained the property rights to Halo, and Bungie continued developing the Halo games until 2010. During this period of time, Microsoft formed an internal division, Free Industries, to manage the franchise and develop the future games. So around, I guess since 2007 to, sometime in 2012, they started developing the fourth game for Halo while making, a good concept for it. And I honestly really do like Chief's new design. I mean, yes, it's pretty different, but I really do like, Cortana's difference in even the concept art and all that. It honestly helps really well with the whole, game of its own self. However, though, it is still a really amazing game, and I definitely really think that the this game of its own self is a pretty good series. Like, I mean, I've always liked the Halo series ever since I was a kid, and a lot of people really do know that, if you're a gamer, you should know about this. So, anyways, I guess I really like the character, the Didact. I think he was a pretty good villain. And he does really have a really cool and, interesting concept and backstory about the Didact. I mean, I do think the Didact was a pretty good villain, but I mean, that's just what I'm seeing personally. If you guys disagree with me, I that's fine, because I know some people may think, oh, the Didact wasn't really the best villain or something. You're free to make your own opinion on it. I'm not going to bash you for it. If you don't like it, that's fine. Because, I honestly do think he was a pretty good villain, especially with the whole concept of it being, yes, there were some, I mean, it was pretty good regardless. So, yeah. I mean, the new designs for Cortana and Master Chief, I know they're different from the first two Halo games, but they honestly were really well made in detail, and I'm glad they brought back the voice actress Jen Taylor, the voice of Zoe in Left 4 Dead, to reprise her role as Cortana. And I like the fact that Steve Doans was the voice of Master Chief. I mean, if they wanted to replace the voice actors, I mean, that would be kind of impossible for Master Chief, because who could play a pretty damn good Master Chief than Steve Doans? I mean, Steve Doans could play a really damn good Master Chief voice, and I honestly really do know for a fact that Cortana's voice is really awesome, and I can't agree enough on this. So, I guess with that being said, I recommend for gamers who haven't played Halo 4, go play this game. If you haven't, you will not be disappointed, and I will say you will not regret buying Halo 4 and play it. Yes, it's a little bit challenging at some parts of the game, but it's still a pretty fun game, and I recommend you guys check it out if you haven't. So, anyways, with that being said, I don't know when I will do Halo 5 Guardians for a review, but I'm hoping maybe sometime in the future. If I ever get the opportunity, I might give that a go, but I'm not too sure when that will be. So, yeah, when it does come out, it will just come out whenever I decide to review it. So, I guess with that being said, with that being the case, what do you guys think of this game for people who have played the game? Do you enjoy it? Did you not? Did you think it was okay? Did you like the villain, etc.? Also, what we have done personally to help make the game a lot better. Feel free to leave me now what your thoughts are down in the comments below, because I like to hear what you guys think. So, I'm the Lion Queen. I want to thank you so much for joining today's episode. If you are new to this channel, feel free to leave a like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications to when I upload. If you want to share my channel to, your friends and family, say, go check out this person's channel, which is me. And feel free to go sub to me. Feel free to leave a like and all that. It actually was really amazing. So I could definitely say right now that it's awesome. So anyways, I'll be seeing you all in the next video. Like always, peace out.